31 Days of Horror with Mark.
Good evening and welcome to 31 Days of Horror with me, Mark. I'm the guy that does the deep gravelly voice in the intro. Yes, just me with some kind of slight tweaks, but yeah, that's all me. Hard to believe, but yes. So yeah, been a wee while since I've done one of these videos. Last year kind of fell by the wayside, along with my kind of geek waffle. So like, I kind of figured I really wanted to kind of try and do this again. So I might not do it every day because obviously it's quite a long haul. But I'll certainly see what I do. Obviously, or what I can do is it's quite good that the first day of October actually kind of like fell on a Saturday, so a bit of kind of time to kind of watch some stuff and I'll have a wee chat. So this evening I'm going to be chatting about some Frankenstein stuff. So original Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, and Mary Shelley Frankenstein. So hello and hello. So yeah, these were my first kind of viewings the today. So I kicked off the morning or like early afternoon with the 1940s Frankenstein. So these ones are a bit weird because like if you look at the kind of box set, it's got like the 15 certificate there. I don't know if you can see that there. And most of the films in there didn't even rate anywhere near like PG and 12 kind of thing. So it's really kind of hard to kind of lump them in the same category as horror. I mean, despite the fact that it does say 8 original horror classics. There we go, point in there. There we go. So obviously by definition, it's saying it's horror, so it's horror. So these have obviously been a staple for many a years, since like way before it was like even kind of considered a thing or a person. So which is very apt. Thing, person, completely accidental. So I have seen the original Frankenstein before. I watched it like quite a few years back. As any guys will kind of know, I try to kind of traditionally start with an old Universal monster movie, which is going to be really kind of sad because so up until this kind of point, the box set I've been kind of working through the 8 films and stuff like that, I've managed to actually kind of watch everything. This was and this has been the year that I basically kind of got to the last film in it, which was Bride of Frankenstein, which I'm like, meh. However, I have kind of seen that there's like certain kind of legacy box sets as well. So they've got like I think they've got a Frankenstein one, they've got an Invisible Man one, which I'd be quite keen to kind of relook at as well. So it's not the end of the world. Tradition will kind of still kind of remain. However, this particular box set is now kind of done and dusted, unfortunately. So yeah, just get into it. For those that don't know, and I don't know how you could know, even if like you were born many years like later and what have you and so on and so forth, the story of Frankenstein is like, again, it's one of these things that's very ingrained in popular culture. However, for the people that haven't watched, Frankenstein is about a man called Frankenstein, not the monster as the common misconception. He's always referred to as Frankenstein, which I think a lot of people just kind of just go with. I try not to be one of these wee wanks and like, actually, I think you'll find that the monster is just called the monster and it's not called Frankenstein, that's the creator. As much as you want to kind of be like that wee prick that basically kind of is like, actually. I try to kind of avoid being that guy. So yeah, it's essentially about like a scientist who dabbles in things that not ought to be dabbled in, and starts to and starts to kind of create essentially a man from bits and bobs like lying around. I mean, when I say lying around, he goes digging up graves. He goes kind of like in the original, he chops down like a hanged criminal kind of thing, just for these kind of bits and pieces to kind of construct this kind of this creature kind of thing. So obviously there's this kind of element that he's a little bit on the mad scientist side. It's like he was one of these kind of almost original mad scientist guys. That's kind of commonly kind of like so kind of linked to that kind of like that whole persona, the mad scientist, kind of traces all the way back to kind of well, in this version, Henry Frankenstein, although I've always known as Victor Frankenstein, but I'll kind of get to that kind of point. I've not read the books, so I could not confirm whether it's Henry or Victor. I'm gonna probably go with Victor. I'm sure that anybody that is kind of watching this, feel free to kind of correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, as I say, he dabbles and stuff. Creates a thing that he shouldn't have created. And then like the rest of the original film is basically about essentially the consequences. So Frankenstein's played by a guy called, I think it's Cliff Clive or Clive Cliff. It's like either or, but it's just like, okay then, fair enough. And yeah, so like when it kind of starts, he's already in the midst of it. There's no kind of real kind of build up to it. It's just essentially like he's already midway through his kind of whole creation dealy. So yeah, and then like his fiance, his kind of friend, and his kind of dad, they're all like really kind of worried about him. It's like, what the hell's going on? And so his fiance and his friend and like a doctor kind of friend like all go up and like knock on his doors, like, dude, what's the haps, what you up to, kind of thing. It's like, well, actually, I've been kind of, like dabbling in creating life, as you do. And obviously, you get the kind of iconic "It's alive" because like he succeeds, obviously. Hopefully, this doesn't kind of count as spoilers, and if it does, I do apologize. But yes, spoilers for this film that's been out for quite a while, and then the book that's been out even longer than that. I'm sure Aaron will have a field day with that. So yeah, so the original one, it's very kind of gothic in terms of its kind of look. I kind of really love these kind of old kind of black and white kind of like Universal kind of horror films because it's got that kind of like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Like you can kind of tell that it's sets and stuff like that, but obviously this was like at the like the real beginning of like the Hollywood age and stuff like that. So you kind of forgive it, and so the like there's like backgrounds that kind of like we've got this kind of like these weird shades of grey, and it kind of just looks really kind of old and gothic, and like the cemetery that the film opens in, like everything's just like ever so slightly kind of decanted, like this is supposed to be like a graveyard, but like it's just ever so slightly askew, like there's like I think a headstone which is really weird. It's like a Grim Reaper kind of thing in the background, and it's like rather than being like this, it's kind of like this, and like there's like pointy kind of fences, and it just looks really kind of cool and atmospheric. And then of course like the creatures played by like Boris Karloff, and absolutely kind of smashes it like out of the park without even saying a single word kind of thing. So it's like it like conveys all this kind of emotion, like like it conveys like happiness when there is kind of points to be kind of happy, like obviously extreme pissed offness because he's like, what the hell, man, like I'm created and like you got me locked in a dungeon, what the shit is that? That's kind of like no cool, which he kind of says with his eyes without so much saying it with his eyes. But yeah, like so it goes kind of pear shaped and stuff like that, and it's got all this kind of striking imagery. Like there's this kind of scene with the young lass and the and the kind of like the pond and stuff like that. And so like Frankenstein's monster's always been kind of portrayed as this like the sympathetic creature, and yeah, up to a point, absolutely like fine. However, he does go a killing like a lot. Like I mean, I think it's like argued that, for example, the youngest person that kind of like is dispatched by the monster is kind of misunderstanding, but at the same time it's kind of like, dude, like so it is kind of both easy and kind of hard to sympathize with the creature because of this, because it's just like, yeah, okay, fair enough, like you've been done wrong, but probably no a good idea to go like kind of murdering folks, but the monster's gonna monster. And so Um, Again, like you've got kind of like Frankenstein again, potentially kind of played very like fairly sympathetic. I mean, he's trying to kind of discover like this new thing and kind of like use it to kind of better mankind and what have you. So, um, it's kind of hard to kind of straight up like he's not an evil guy. He's just kind of misunderstood. But yeah, he probably shouldn't have done what he done. Moving on, I kind of like I watched Bride of Frankenstein, which was the one I hadn't kind of seen. The kind of three ones I kind of watched today. I'm potentially going to watch more. The night is young. However, in terms of like my video, I'm just going to kind of talk about these three films. So yeah, Bride of Frankenstein was next, and yeah, like couple of continuity issues, like for example in the original Elizabeth is a blonde haired lass, and then in this one which takes place like maybe kind of like a few hours or like maybe even kind of a few moments after the events of the first one. um she's like dark haired now, and it's just kind of like so it's obviously a completely different lass. Like the Frankenstein's still played by the same kind of guy, and the monster still played by Karloff, which is kind of totally cool. But yeah, you're just kind of like, we're just gonna ignore that, yeah. But they obviously just didn't give a shit about continuity back in the day, kind of thing. So they were just like, yeah, no one will notice. I did, but yeah. So yeah, so it picks off like just after the events of the kind of the first film. And it's quite kind of well framed because it starts with Mary Shelley, her kind of partner, and Lord Byron, all kind of like having a wee kind of like chatting like this big fancy extravagant kind of like house, and Byron's kind of almost winding like Shelley up, going, "Oh, I can't believe that you, a woman, wrote this," ha 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 ha, kind of thing, and she's like, "No, why the hell wouldn't I write it, dickhead?" So like she essentially is like, "Oh, but part two is," and then she kind of goes into the kind of story. So this time round, it's like, so Frankenstein's kind of like, "Nope, I'm hanging up the lab coat. Fuck that noise. That shit was too intense. I am not doing that again." However, he's visited by this kind of creepy old dude called Doctor Pretorius, I think it is. And he's like, "By the way, I've also like done life stuff and brought things into kind of being that I shouldn't have." Fancy teaming up, and he's just like, "What?" And he's like, "Come to my lab and I'll show you all this." Bleh. Sound a bit like Dracula there, but you get the kind of like this evil shit comes to his kind of door like first thing, and sorry, like late at night, and like come see what I've done, kind of thing. And so he brings them to his lab, and weirdly, the stuff this guy's created is tiny people in jars, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah, like of course, like suspension of disbelief is very high when you're kind of watching pretty much any horror kind of thing. The first one, however, is fairly grim, especially for the kind of time. Dude's like, "I'm making a bloke. There's the bloke. I brought the bloke alive. The bloke's gonna start going like rampaging, and like you're supposed to feel sorry for the bloke." Fair dues. This was just kind of, as I say, it was very jarring, considering, as I say, the first one's as grounded as it possibly can be given the kind of like situation. And this guy's like, "Check it out, I've got these wee jars of folks, aren't they cute?" And he's got a king, and he's got a queen, and he's got like a bishop, and then he's got a ballerina, and you're just like, right. And so like at that point you'd be like, "Yeah, I'm out, pal, see you later," kind of thing. However, it does like transpire that like Pretorius kind of like gets all blackmaily and shit, and starts kind of like going, "Well, if you don't help me create a mate for the monster, then haha." At this point, as far as they're concerned, the monster is not alive, and you're just like, right, okay, fair enough. However, spoiler alert, I mean, yeah, he's still kicking about. He kind of survived the big aftermath of the windmill kind of fire. So as soon as he does escape, he like he goes on another kind of like killing spree. However, Karloff gets a wee bit more to work with in this, so they actually let him kind of have like a speaking part in this, and so there's a lot of him kind of essentially kind of like learning how to speak. He meets like a blind guy in a cabin, and in the cabin he's just kind of like, like, oh friend, that's good, and smoking's good. It's like, oh, like, probably no like fly the day kind of thing, and ooh, drinking's good and what have you. So he learns, and then he's kind of chased off by a couple of assholes kind of thing, and then meets Pretorius weirdly in a crypt, whilst because Pretorius is basically kind of like sitting there having a meal and like a drink with like some body parts, and you're like, yeah, this guy's fucked up. So it kind of transpires that kind of Pretorius is like, well, actually, I'm building you a lady, like, if you're gonna do what I say, then the lady will be yours. And he's like, all right. So then he uses the kind of monster to kind of trick Frankenstein, essentially helping them that, and he basically kidnaps his kind of completely different missus in this one. So yeah, so for a film called The Bride Frankenstein, you would expect that the bride would have more screen time. She really doesn't. For anybody that's never seen, like, she's like maybe in the last 5 minutes if you're lucky. And like, don't get me wrong, it's like really iconic. She's got like the big hair and the kind of like the lightning bolts in the side and stuff, and it's really kind of cool, and you get the kind of cool music and stuff like that as well. But yeah, it's like, I would probably kind of say like lumping these two films together is probably a good idea. I mean, with the exception, obviously, that kind of glaring continuity issue. But I mean, as I say, it was back then, they were probably like, shh, no one will notice, it's black and white. So yeah, so it kind of expands upon the actual monster's character quite a bit, which is really kind of cool and stuff like that as well. One thing I'll probably say, we have like a maid character. I think her name's Minerva or Minnie or whatever. Biggest pain in the arse in the entire film. Excuse me. Proper kind of screaming like a kind of thing, and like at every available juncture, she's kind of screaming her entire puss off, and you're just like she's been inserted for comic relief. And it's very kind of clear that that's the case, but at the same time, you're just like, this isn't funny. I just kind of really didn't like this lass, and yeah, she's kind of pissing me off. However, like, you kind of see why she's kind of being entered in there. So yeah, original two films, like, they're iconic. It's really kind of hard to dismiss the kind of old films as like, oh, like they're not as good as the kind of thing, or like you kind of do what we could kind of do today, and like some of the acting's like maybe know the best, and I think that's kind of pish. Like I think they were very kind of well made films, especially for the time. But one thing I would probably say is obviously the footage that the films were kind of like essentially transferred through isn't the best. So like there's like bits where like the film skips and stuff, but I think that kind of adds a bit to the charm, because it's kind of like like you're seeing this kind of slicey history and stuff like that, and it's kind of being preserved, and yeah, it's really like really cool kind of thing. So yeah, original two films I really like. Moving on to this one, Mary Shelley Frankenstein. There we go. So this one came out in the 90s. I want to say 93, 94. It's not really going to say on the back, but let's say 93 for the sake of. Oh, 94. Oh, there we go. Got it right. So it's. I've only really kind of heard about this recently, but I don't think this one is held in as high regard as I held it when I was a kind of kid. So I watched this film. So like around about that time, I would have been maybe kind of like 10 or 11 thereabouts when that kind of came out, and so. Probably a film I should have been watching at that age, but whatever. My mum was kind of like very kind of liberal. We just like, yeah, it was fine. Like, it's not gonna harm him, and I'm pretty sure I'm okay. So this was the film I kind of like. I grew up in. This was my first introduction to like the character Frankenstein, the monster, as well as okay, like I would have kind of seen the image of Karloff very iconically. He would have showed up in something. I would have seen him like in a still. Would have probably seen him in the background of some other film like when I was growing up. So yeah, I was aware of that, but this was my first kind of essentially foray into that kind of like story kind of thing. And as I says, I've kind of heard that it's quite disliked, and I'm like, okay, do I really kind of get it? I think this is very kind of again, it's very gothic, but like more moderny gothicy, if you know what I mean. So like, and it's got these kind of like grand sets, and like everybody's in period costume, and like, okay, fair enough. Like he's supposed to be like Swiss or whatever, or Swedish or whatever it is. I think it's Swiss. And that makes me sound like an idiot because I'm pretty sure that, yeah, it is Switzerland. So yeah, apologies for that. And so yeah, like, but everybody speaks with an English accent is one of the ones you're just like, with the exception of like the monster who's played by Robert De Niro, who you get a brief cameo for before he kind of goes full monster, and it's like he's very American, and then it seems like he kind of tries to put in an Irish accent at some point, and you're just like, where are you from? But yeah. So this one's obviously a more expanded kind of thing. It doesn't just kind of jump straight into it. All that being said, we do get the kind of the whole kind of starts at the end kind of thing. So we get like a wee bit of uh, like almost like a tease whereby kind of like Frankenstein comes across like a ship, and he's just like, I need all your men to come help me kind of thing, and he's like, nah, no, like the kind of ship captain's like, nah, I didn't know you, pal, what's going on? So he takes him and he tells him his tale kind of thing, very Rick and Morty style. So yeah, got Kenneth Branagh in the lead, who he also directed this as well, and you've got De Niro playing like the creature. You've got Helena Bonham Carter, and the very underrated and I'd say underused. I want to say Tom Holtz. Apologies if I'm butchering the kind of pronunciation of your surname, but the gentleman that played Mozart and Amadeus, which is all what I always kind of remember him from, like back in the day when we kind of watched it in music class back in high school. So yeah, like one of the ones. So I really like this film. Again, it potentially might be a rose tinted glasses thing, whereby like I grew up with it, I really liked it, kind of thing. But like I love it. I love like the look of it. I love the feel of the acting, the scene where he's kind of like, right, okay, it's time to bring the monster to life. That whole bit where like the music's kind of pumping, and he's like flicking switches and like pulling like the chain and everything sliding, and like, oh, like it's very kind of like when I was a kid, I was just like, it's really exciting. What's gonna happen, kind of thing, because I'd never seen the like it's alive kind of thing from the original, which obviously they kind of do with this one as well. And so yeah, like I think a lot of people I've seen kind of people can criticize kind of Robert De Niro's kind of performance as well as a monster. Say he doesn't have that kind of much character. I don't think I really kind of agree with that. I mean, bottom line is, if you didn't really kind of like the film, that's up to you. I really kind of do. So I mean, there's not really kind of much more to say. Like with it, just retreading essentially the same things. Like, guys, like, by the way, I can create life, kind of thing. There's a wee bit more about his motivations in this. Essentially, kind of stems for the fact that like his mum passes away before she's supposed to, and so he's just kind of like, oh, you know what? I'm sick of this shit. I'm gonna kind of sort this shit out, kind of thing. And he sees like he ends up seeing a few more deaths, and like up to the point whereby he's like, right, that's it. I'm gonna kind of create this kind of thing. So yeah, it is essentially Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein kind of smooshed together as well, which is, again, I don't know if that's what the original book is like. So again, somebody can kind of confirm that for me. But bottom line is, the one I hadn't seen, Bride of Frankenstein, I did really enjoy. I did think that the bride herself was kind of like sorely lacking, but you're just like, okay, fair enough. That's just kind of how it was. That one is the only one I think in the entire box set that's rated a 15, and I don't know why, because the only thing I can think of is the smoking. There's like, not only is there like rampant smoking, and it's one of these things now where it's just like, oh, kind of thing. But it's not only kind of that, but it's also kind of like, oh, smoking's good, kind of thing. It's like, it's not frowned upon, and it's kind of, so I wonder if that's maybe what was kind of ramped the rating up, or potentially because this involves like a lady corpse being brought back to life. So potentially, I didn't really kind of get, because in terms of kind of tone, it's maybe a bit the same. I'd probably say he's a bit more killy in this. So again, maybe because of the murder spree, it's ramped up a wee bit, but who knows? But yeah, of the film I hadn't seen, I really like Bride of Frankenstein. Of the two that I had seen before, I still really like them as well. It was a great way to kind of kick off 31 Days of Horror, and I'll hope to kind of like chat to you about other things. As you probably kind of know, when I do this, I don't have a set list. I know a lot of folks like to basically kind of like stamp some stuff in stone. I do have some set things over the kind of month already. I'm gonna catch Bram Stoker's Dracula in the cinema, so that'll be a nice wee kind of link into Mary Shelley's Frankenstein there, because they came out around about the same time. Also going to like an all night horror marathon, and I will probably catch the new Halloween, and I'm going to go and see like that new movie Smile as well. So there's like quite a kind of, I've got some stuff locked in to kind of go and see as well. So yeah, but yeah, if you enjoy it, if you enjoy me kind of like talking a lot of pish about like films, I'll try and kind of keep these out as regular as I possibly can. As I say, it might not be every day, because that's that's quite a long kind of haul, 31 kind of videos. But like at the very least, I'll try every kind of other day. If you enjoyed this, if you want to provide me suggestions, if you disagree with anything that I've kind of said, by all means pop me like a wee comment and stuff like that. I'm of the opinion these days, like I'm not going to be like all horrible and nasty, like I can't believe you like this thing. I would have probably back in the day, but I've grown very kind of diplomatic in my old age, so I'd probably kind of say I'm more inclined to essentially go, well, that's obviously your opinion. However, I did really like that thing. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, if you did watch, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Catch you later. Bye now. Ooh.